Solutions is a balanced staffing company developed by a group of professionals with an experience of over 18+ years in staffing solutions. With years of quality and committed high-end application development and staffing experience, we have become experts at delivering the right fit, the first time. We will be glad to be your last stop and provide you with the perfect solution to your requirements. Follow Scholar IT Solutions LinkedIn page. For more updates, follow our social media pages.
And as you all know, this online webinar is organized by Scholar IT Solutions. Scholar IT is an IT solution provider, and it is a group of professionals with technical and domain expertise. And they have an experience and a robust team of efficient people serving its client all over USA, and it is one of the best companies in US. You can follow Scholar IT on social networking sites like Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
So coming to my introduction, so myself as Srinivas Santravahi, I am working, I have 16 years experience as a DBA. So yeah, before going to session, we will go to the background of NoSQL and what are the use cases, like why we need to use MySQL as NoSQL, some use cases, and what is the architecture of MySQL as a NoSQL. Like we have a new component called MysqlX div. So I will show you in practical how we need to enable that one, and then like what is the difference between the old MySQL protocol and the text protocol. Then we'll go to Mysqlshell overview, which is the API to connect to MySQL and query. Okay. So and so on, like we have how to import the things to MySQL collections and how to use the tables and collections MySQL. Let's say we have one NoSQL and one relational table, and we can both use joins and query the data. Okay. So the background of NoSQL, like NoSQL database is a non-table database. NoSQL as a flat file, like a JSON, where we have key and value pairs. Okay. So in MySQL API, both MySQL and NoSQL can share the same data. Okay, NoSQL documents as a table and collection as a data. Okay. So let's come to use cases. So why we need to use MySQL NoSQL features in the MySQL? Okay, you are using, let's say your developer or application team wants to implement some JSON features, or they ask you to implement it. So in order to do that, you use the existing MySQL. When compared to NoSQL databases and so is my audio clear now? Hello?
Yes, we able to hear you, but voice is not clear. Voice is not clear. Maybe some network glitches or like that. Voice is not that clear.
Let me start from this. Hello, is it okay now or still we have the same issue?
I think now better.
Now better?
Yes, yes. Compared to previous, it's good, somewhat better.
Okay, then let's start now. I think you guys followed the previous slides, right? Or you have any questions on that?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. So let's see the use cases of why we need to use MySQL as NoSQL. Okay. Let's say you have your existing MySQL server and your application team wants to have some JSON features or NoSQL features. So in that case, no need to go for MongoDB or other NoSQL services. Since already MySQL has an existing NoSQL feature where we can leverage on it. And one more thing, that NoSQL on AWS or Azure is very costly, but MySQL on these two Azure or AWS is very cheap. And there is no need to do any configurations within the MySQL engine. So everything will be worked without any configuration. Okay. So let's go to this XAPR picture. Let's say you have the application. Normal application, when they need to talk to database, they should have some connectors. Okay. We need to download some connectors from the MySQL website, and they will talk to this JSON objects. For a DBA to interact, we use MySQL. Okay. Simultaneously, within the same server, we can talk to the relational database also. Okay. That is started, right? So within the SQL server database, we can create a NoSQL engine and the MySQL engine, or NoSQL or relational database. Okay, let me show you how to connect actually. So this MysqlX protocol, it listens on the port 33060. So normally MySQL will listen on 3306, right? So this will listen on 33060, and it was there since MySQL 8.0.13. Okay. So for that we have a new plugin called. Let me show you. show plugins. Okay. So if you see there's a new plugin that was enabled and by default from MySQL 8.0.13, which is called MysqlX. Okay. So to interact with MysqlX using using our client, we have a tool called Mysqlshell. We call MysqlSH. Okay. And MysqlSH hyphen URL, we need to mention the host name and what is the user you are trying to connect. Right now, in my case, my host name is the localhost and the username is root. And when we press enter, for the first time, it will ask for password. Then after that, password will be automatically saved. And right now, I connected using X protocol. If you see here. Okay. If you want to connect using the normal protocol, I need to default explicitly mention the port :3306. See, now I connected to MySQlshell using the normal protocol. We call the classic protocol here. Okay, any doubts here? So this normal protocol, if you have experience with DB cluster or MySQlshell, if you have any experience with that, so you need to connect using the classic protocol, explicitly mentioned the 3306 port. By default, it will connect to 33060 only. Okay. Any questions here? So all the features are documented here in this link actually. Let me open this one. See how we need to work with the collections, how we need to work with the documents, how we need to work with the relational databases. Everything is there here. So these are a reference for us. Okay. Now going to the next slide. So if you connect to MySQlshell, there are three modes here actually. One is a JS mode, which is called the JavaScript mode, and one is a SQL mode /SQL. This is like your MySQL, like old MySQL, like you can write your SQL queries. And one is a Python mode /py. Using this mode, you can write your Python scripts or you can do all the automations. So earlier, how we are calling the Python scripts and Python automations. We need to go to the OS command prompt and call to the Python and do something. But here, in this, no need to explicitly do like that. So we have three modes here. One is the JS mode, which is a NoSQL mode or JavaScript mode. And one is the SQL mode, which is our RDBMS mode, and one is our Python mode. So I'm going to cover this JS mode and the SQL mode. Okay. Am I clear? Right? So this slide talks about
Yes.
the XDVP. Okay, and right now I said that what is the SQL mode, what is the JS mode, and what is the Python mode. Okay, now let's try to interact with MongoDB or MySQL as MongoDB. Before that, let's say your application team gave a JSON to export. Okay. So like if you want to create a schema here, you need to use session.create schema. In the SQL mode, like how we are doing is a create database name, right? Database EFG. If you use show databases, you can see the database EFG. Okay, similarly, if you want to create a database with a NoSQL mode, you need to use session.create schema. Okay, you got it right? So if I switch to SQL mode and see show databases, I can see the EMP data which I created using this one. Okay, any questions here? Hello?
Yeah, you mean to say create the database by this way, session.create schema, right?
Right. Session.create schema. So here I use session.create schema and created a schema called EMP data.
Okay.
So now I will create a document, or I have the existing JSON here. Let me show you the JSON here. I have the JSON file enterprise profile, which is a EMP data. This is sample JSON actually. So I want to import this JSON to a document. Okay. There is a command util.import JSON, the JSON path on which schema you want to import, and what is the collection name. So here my schema and collection name are EMP data and EMP data. Okay. See here, one document imported successfully. Okay. Now I want to log into that. You need to use /use EMP data. This is similar to our NoSQL engine, right? We are using use EMP data, right?
Right.
So this is similar to our this one. Okay. Now in this document, if you want to see what are the collections here, okay, we have the command called db.getCollections. Okay, now I have the EMP data collection. You got it right? So the coming slides will talk about, like in MongoDB we have the syntax called use database name, but in MySQL as document store we can use database and slash. And in MongoDB we have the command show DBs to list all the DBs. Here we have session.get schemas to list what are the schemas. Let's say session.get schemas. See, I have these schemas, ABC, CT, these are schemas I have. And once you got a schema, you need to connect to the schema using /use the schema name. Here in this case, EMP data. Okay, then you will get EMP data here. That means you are connected to EMP data schema. Okay, and in this schema, I have all the collections. Now I see I have the collection called EMP data collection. Okay. So db.get collections, right? So if you want to create a collection also, you can use this one db.create collection. Okay, if you want to create a collection using this syntax, you can use db.create collection. Okay. Let's see what is the data we have. Okay. So I need to use dab.emp data.find. This is nothing but select star from table name. Okay. See, I have all this data in the JSON format. See, one is the email ID, photo, gender, etc., etc. And what is the address of that EMP ID, which is in this JSON format. Okay, you got the point right here. So the command is called db.collection.find. Okay, let's go to classical mode and see how the table structure created. MySQL-u root. Okay, show databases. We have EMP data. So this is the same JSON document. We are trying to see how the structure is created using the table format. Okay. Use the EMP data. If I issue show tables here, and I want to describe this table, DESC EMP data /G DESC. See, I have the dot. I have this type of table created. One is the ID and one is a JSON schema. In this JSON schema, we have all this JSON document stored here. This is a JSON document we created, right? So that will be stored like this. Okay. See, create table name, doc is a JSON, ID is a wrap binder, and JSON schema, which is a JSON document. And the beauty of this is it can store up to 10 terabyte of documents. Unlike in MongoDB, we have 250 GB limit. After 250 GB, we need to create one more shard in MongoDB. But here we can store up to 10 terabyte of JSON documents here.
One question here. JSON is like here engine, right?
No, it's normal InnoDB engine. JSON, okay. Think of JSON as a data type. Okay. Like varchar something is there, right? Like think of JSON as a data type here. So we are using the InnoDB engine only. Within the InnoDB engine, we are creating a table with JSON data type.
How to extract the data from the table? Can you show here?
Yeah, here.
Select star.
I can show you the next slide actually. Or if you want, I can show you here. See, there's a new syntax implemented here. From I'll show you from EMP data. So this is through your SQL query. I'll show you in the next slide actually. So let's go to this document store. So let's say db.emp.find. We have all the JSON data here. Okay. So, but here I want only the few columns, like last name, first name, and phone number. Like select last name, first name, comma phone number from table name, right? We have the similar syntax in DBMS. So here we can use like this dot fields. db.emp data.field. See, earlier I have big JSON, but here I have email, nickname, and address. That's what I access from the JSON. Okay. And if I have to add one more record, let's say I have, let's say I want to count the record. Let's select count of star from table name. So here I can see db.empdata.count. So I have only one document here. Okay. Let's say I want to add one more document. So I can use like this db.profile.empdata.add. Okay. So now I got one row inserted. If I see the count, I have two here. And if you see db.empdata.count, sorry, not count, .find, I have two documents. So this one I recently added, and one more is that the original document which we imported. So the advantage of NoSQL database is, there is no structure for that. Since it has no structure, we can create the structural data. Here I have this much data here, but I added only two records here. Okay. Any questions? So if I want to search for a particular employee or a particular thing, I can use db.empdata.find. So I think this email is not there here. Let me see the email. Let's say abc@xyz.com. So these are the basic CRUD operations we can use. There is some syntax error here. Okay. Let's go to my. See here, I got that email. Okay. So any questions until here? And if you want to delete that one, I can delete that one using that ID or any value db.empdata.remove. Let me show you that one also. Data.remove. Let's say I want to delete this record. Okay, now one row is this is like a delete statement. So use db.delete different. Now I have only one record here. Okay. And one more thing is, let me show you here. Yeah, these are things we discussed, right? So here we have a primary key called underscore field. The main advantage of this underscore field is, it will be helpful in the replication. And this document DB supports the replication also, like master and master slave, or InnoDB replication, or any kind of replication. This JSON will support without any changes. Okay. Any questions until here? Now let's see. I have one collection and one table. Okay. I have a collection called people and I have a table called states. This is in the NoSQL format, and this is in the table format. So MySQL supports the join between these two tables. Let's say I want to get the list of all the people who are in California. I'll show you that one. Go to here. So which profile? See here in this profile, I have two tables. Okay, I think I deleted the table. Or we'll create the table. Or we can create the table also. So let's say I want to create a table and insert some data, and I can join these two data. So let's try to create a table. Create table state. ID name, ID, some int, not null, name, vector of 30. Okay. Insert into states. Values. 5, comma.
Table name is wrong.
Hello.
Table name stats.
Okay, state. Insert into also is wrong. Into.
It is STATS.
Which one I created? STAT is. Okay,
Yeah,
STAT.
STAT.
Yes. Okay. And it's Virginia. Okay. Some other state. So I have created 3 states here. If it is select star from state. Stats, state is right. Start from stats. So I have three records here, right? So if you see show tables, I have one profile and I have one stats. So on this profile is a document table, and this is a relational table. Okay. Got it? Any doubts here? Profile. Now I switch it to profile table, and if you see document dot profile dot find, and if you see which state I want to query, common name, common state, will query by state. Let's say I'll add one record here. So now I added one more table with ABC. So now I want to join these two tables. One is a document table and one is a non-relation table, and see the results. So that one also is possible. And in no other database we can document, or we can use a joins between the relation table and the non-relation table. So to join this, they introduce a new code called this one. Okay, let's try to join. So table. So what is the table name I gave? Profile. From profile, and the other one is stats, right? Stats. State is. Where profile dot equal to. So here I'm joining the two tables with respect to IDs and getting the table name only with California. Okay. So that's the power of MySQL. We can use both document and non-document tables to come. Let's see. I have two records of the tables that are living in California. And if I see doc that first name also, I can get the data. First name. See, I can see the first name, last name, and the data. Okay. And I can add email also here. Instead of first name, last name, I can add email. So I see no other database is supposed actually, like to join the NoSQL relational tables. It looks like I don't have the email field here. So any questions until here?
Hi, good morning, Sunny. I have a question here. Like this NoSQL and relational tables.
Okay.
I understand that they can reside in the same database and we can query that one. So my question to you is it only for Oracle or it can be happen for MySQL in Community Edition as well? If the version is same. Okay, thank you.
Okay, here my version is a community version. If I connect to that and mine is a community version, community server.
Yeah, thanks.
So, like for MySQL, almost enterprise and the community versions are the same, but enterprise has some additional features like backups and firewalls and things. Apart from that, everything that will be released will be same between the community and enterprise version.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Hello. One question is here.
Okay.
Yeah. And previously we see two tables. One is profile table, I think, right?
Right.
And one is state table. Okay. So in profile table, we can see that means as a tabular format means what columns like that is there or not. It's what we can see.
I'm showing the tables. Okay. Show tables here. I have two tables. One is profile and one is stats. Okay. Show create table profile. Let me get the script of this table. So one is Json data. Okay. And stats STATS, right? Okay. This one is the tabular data. So this JSON doesn't have any schema like any table definition. Like we can insert as much data and there is no structure for this one. But here we have some structure. Like ID will accept only integer values, name will accept varchar, and it has limit of 30. But here in JSON, we can insert unlimited number of data in any format.
Whatever table is created in JSON format, means NoSQL database.
Yes.
So it's only defined only 3 or 4 columns is showing like that, doc, ID, and JSON schema like that.
The key value.
Key value is there.
So typically your data will be like this only. db.profile.file is there, right? See here, key and value. This is the key and value. And I have seen the complex JSON like within this key value, there will be another key value. Let's say here you have reference accounts is there. Reference accounts we have this key value here.
It's something like embedded document.
Yeah, embedded document. Yeah.
Okay.
Like there is no structure or something with the JSON data. Like we can insert whatever data we want. There is no need to define the structure or something. But in case of relational database, we need to create a table with some structure, and we need to insert the data with respect to structure. That structure only. And this API, what I am showing, is almost equivalent to MongoDB API. So, and all the asset properties will be automatically inherited here. There is no need to change anything. Like if you say MongoDB, MongoDB comes under consistency and availability in the CAP theorem. So similarly, this MySQL also, this JSON comes under consistency and availability. So if you want to build a InnoDB cluster or InnoDB replication or group replication, yeah, there's no need to change anything. This entire JSON, whatever data is inserted in the JSON, it will be inserted there.
Sunil sir, I have one more question. Like in a transaction, can I insert in both the tables, like a relational table and NoSQL table? And if it fails, there should be a proper rollback.
Yeah, that you need to write a condition actually.
Condition, okay.
You need to write a condition like since it's a document database or NoSQL
Yes.
database, so you need to write a condition on your code actually. You need to check both the tables have the data, and if it doesn't have the data, you need to write the rollback condition.
Okay. Second question, like in Mongo, we have Mongo dump and Mongo restore, which it does with JSON and JSON. So how it happens when there are two type of tables, like a relational table as well as NoSQL table?
So you want to take the backup of this one and see how this works, right? Let's
Yes.
check it right. MySQL dump hyphen your root hyphen p hyphen all hyphen or all hyphen databases. No, I just want to dump only profile, right? Hyphen databases profile.
Yeah, entire profile database.
Okay. Let me see /temp. Let me see if I have any space here. It will not be more than it.
Sir, you can take in temp because there are not many records.
/temp /abc dot something SQL. I think I make my command. The MySQL dump hyphen u root hyphen p. So if you see /temp.abc.sql, let's see if the table is created /temp. Okay, nothing is created here. The syntax is correct, right? Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me check the syntax here.
Okay.
Just a second. Just the syntax here. MySQL hyphen u hyphen databases /MySQL dump hyphen u root hyphen not hyphen, here we have hyphen single transaction, nothing is there, profile, okay. /temp.abc.sql. Now it should be. So I think I have now the data will be created. We have 14K. See cat or VA. Let's see VA. abc.sql. See here, the profile data, the table is created, and the data is itself a JSON. So no, there is no need to specifically do the dump also, like no need to change your backups also. The same MySQL dump will work.
Okay.
And you have many. If you have any questions here, this manual has many things here, like how to modify the documents. You see here, yeah.
Yeah.
How to create working with collections, how to modify, remove documents, and you can even create indexes also to the documents. He drop index, he created index, and we can drop the index.
Okay, I have one more question. Like we have two tables right now. One is SQL table, and one is NoSQL table. Can I have a relation between them, like primary and foreign key, like one maybe relation?
That's what we did, right? If you see the query here, I think we wrote one query here, right? I think we wrote one query here.
Yeah, that it does the lookup of that one, but in the table when we have created, can we create a column?
Yeah, we can't create a relation between the this is a document DB, right? So document DB doesn't have any structure. So whatever data you dump, it will store here. So we can't create a relation between the document and the relational document. But while inserting, we need to make sure, like in those cases, while inserting, we need to make sure, we need to write a code that there is the relation exists and we need to insert before inserting.
Okay, thanks. In MongoDB, we have insert and insert many, update and update many. So here it is same, is it?
Yeah, here we have the same. Let me show you the manual here. If you see here, working with corrections, find documents here. Yeah. And here we have everything actually, how to insert and everything. I think there is no insert menu or so, but we need to see the syntax for that.
Okay.
And we can also, like in the search, we can limit the record.
Yeah, limit. Yeah.
Otherwise, so you have to do order or group by, we need to use sort. And this
So everything is same like MongoDB.
Yeah,
everything like aggregate pipeline and all things we can do here, right?
Yeah, we can do it here. Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, working with the collections and all, this is the thing I am showing you, right? Working with the documents. Yeah, this is the thing I am showing. Creating the documents, working with documents. See, like where collection is equal to, he just try to execute print result and everything. Here means he is adding. So within the same collection, he is adding 3 records.
Yeah, 3 records. Okay.
And
now coming, I have a few more questions I have. Like in NoSQL and where we are using as a document DB, the data and all these things are interoperable. Like if say suppose I want to migrate from MongoDB to MySQL, I will just take them dump and restore in the MySQL. Is that possible?
That's it.
Maybe you might have
here and util that import JSON. That will work.
Import JSON. Okay.
That will work.
Thanks.
Even I have tried it also. Well, like we have something in Azure Cosmos as a JSON. I imported JSON and exported here.
Okay.
So that will work. So this feature is, the excellent feature in the MySQL, where you can't see in any other databases. And this feature works with MySQL 8.0.13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, I was not aware of this one. That thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Even if you search in Google also, you will not find much.
True. Agree.
You will not find much pages actually.
Uh-huh.
You know, I used to, for me also, I used to work with the direct Oracle team, and you know, we used to get the things done. Like we have enterprise MySQL version, and you know, in my company, I can we have the Oracle folks where I can call them and you know get my doubts done. So, but you know,
The sharding and everything, replica set, what we have in Mongo, it works similar to this fashion, right?
yeah, like you can create a normal group replication in there, and you can this will work.
Okay.
Or you can use the normal replication and this will work. This will work seamlessly with the replication, MySQL replication.
And how about the DR, like how it is, how we set up over here?
Sorry?
How about the DR setup? Say suppose
Yeah,
I have three node cluster.
Yeah, if you have a master slave, you can build a slave and no need to change anything actually. The JSON, what the data will be inserted, it will be replicated there.
Okay.
And you can implement using the group replication or you know InnoDB cluster also.
So which one is recommended, because you are senior in this one? So I'm just,
you know, application, if it's a P1 application, and if they have budget to set up 3 servers, and if they want the automatic failover, then I'll recommend to go for a InnoDB cluster.
okay.
Or you know, they just want the data to be replicated without automatic failover, then go for group replication.
Okay.
Or if they just want the master slave and you know they just want to have a queries to be written to be read from the slave, just go for GTAD or the normal replication.
A few more questions on the backup recovery. Like, do we have this point in time recovery? Because currently we are using Percona backup and cluster control.
That should fit, but I didn't check that. And Percona, I doubt, you know, I'm not sure about the Percona and all, but MySQL Enterprise backup is. I need to do some, you know, testing with Percona, point in time.
And for enterprise backup, we need to have the license. It is not running on community edition.
Yeah, that's what I need to test, but definitely it should work. But I can't. I didn't test it.
Okay, thanks. I think so. I'm done with my questions. Thanks for all.
So, like, I would like to get a feedback. How you know, how is this feature, and you know, maybe if you can do some experiments or do something that will be you know very good for you. Because this feature no one knows that it exists in MySQL. So right now we are thinking of MySQL as a relational database, but from 8.0.3 they changed the entire thing actually. Now they are going to change the logo like this. The whole document is going to change like this.
This encryption is also being taken care in MySQL as a NoSQL database.
Yeah, everything, whatever the features in MySQL, they will be automatically implemented without doing any change.
No, in MongoDB, we need to purchase the enterprise edition only to have this.
In MySQL community, we have the encryption thing actually.
Yeah. MySQL, I know, I'm aware of that one. But MySQL as NoSQL.
Yeah, that should work. That will work. Like what Oracle said is, what are the features that are in the MySQL that will also work with this one.
Okay.
Because it is underlying, we are using the only InnoDB engine only.
Yeah.
You're not changing the InnoDB engine to some other engine. So whatever the features, everything is there within the InnoDB, it will also apply to here.
Okay.
we can, next year we are working on a huge data set, and maybe I'll do more research and let know if I have any issues.
Yeah, I can also help you on that one.
Okay. So yeah, any questions or yeah, we can wrap the call.
Yeah, no questions from me. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm good.
And thank you very much, and thank you, Scholar IT, for organizing this one and sharing my knowledge to others.